Hey there, I'm Christy. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, I'm from Northern Alberta, Canada, growing Zone 2B, and I have a farm where I grow cut flowers for 2 florists, as well as I grow my groceries, or the majority of them. And if you're returning, hey, it's so good to see you. So today's vlog is a little bit of everything. I did some planting, and we're gonna go and just kind of peek and see what Tyson's up to. He's helping me with a water problem that I've been having in the greenhouse, so I'll show you what's going on there. So yeah, we'll see you back here in a bit. It's so loud out here. I'll do a voiceover and spin the camera so you can see what I'm doing today. Today is lily planting day, and I had done an unboxing video with you guys last week. I will link that below so you can see all of the different varieties I ordered and am planting today. But basically what I'm doing is I'm doing a no-till system, and I had in the fall brought in a bunch of compost from my manure pile. And so what I did is I raked away all of that manure and compost, and I got it down to the original garden soil there, and I brought in some worm castings. And Chaz is actually, he's kind of broad forking. We don't have a broad fork, but he's kind of loosening it up and pulling out roots and weeds as we go. So this is actually the original garden soil here with the compost moved to the side. And then, like as you can see, I put worm castings down, and now this is bone meal. And so what I'm doing is I'm just basically amending the soil with straight on worm castings and bone meal, because I want to promote some really nice rooting into the soil, because I would like these to perennialize. And so basically that's how all I did to amend my beds with. While Chaz is working on the quackgrass roots, I decided to chance all the water and mud and go get some lilies. So this was my third trip of lilies in my little Tykes wagon. It works so good. They're classy like that. And so yeah, I got all of the lilies in that I wanted to, and also some irises. It was really nice having Chaz help. Usually projects like this would take a couple hours, and with his help it cut it down to half the time. So the way I'm doing the planting, instead of digging holes, I'm going to be adding soil on top of them. So I kind of made the little bed, fluffed it up. Chaz helped fluff it up, and I amended it with a worm compost and the bone meal. And so now what I'm doing is I am clumping them together in groups of 3. Now ignore that tag, it says glads. I reuse the tag, and what they are is actually posted on the other side of it. But yeah, oh, I have an audience. Always have an audience. Anything in a bucket they want to investigate. But the proper way to plant lilies is to plant them in groups of 3 for perennialization. And I did plant them much closer together than what would be probably recommended. But because I'm doing this for production and cut flowers, this is basically the way I like to plant mine. And this is what works the best for me. I also would like to tell you that lilies do not go completely dormant. And if you break off that green growth on the top of it, you're not going to get a plant that you can enjoy or use for the season. And oftentimes they will just rot in the ground from past experiences. And look at these guys. They just want to help get into everything they possibly can. So that was the lilies that I put in, and irises. And it doesn't look like a lot, but there are several hundred. And I have those 2 beds ready for when I want to add in the next crop. So irises, you plant them at the crown, which is what I did. And then I did put these rose lilies really close together, and that's okay. We hooped and netted it. I keep my chickens running full access in the farm. So what I've been doing is putting down hoops and then putting a netting over top of my beds. The netting, you can't even really see it. The one bed already has it on, and you wouldn't even know. The netting is very, very nice to have because it protects the crop. See it, you can't see it, Unless you're right up close, you see it, but really from afar, you cannot see the netting at all over the crop, which is perfect. Well, the tulip beds are exposed. That's a good sign. Snow melted so much the last couple days. Muddy. Let's go see what's going on. So we've installed a pump, pressure pump with a little battery, and we're just going to, Tyson's rigging it up, so I'll ask him what he's doing. But basically, I'll have water pressure so I can use my sprayer. And look at this, I have fungi growing in here. I don't know what kind it is. Kind of funky looking. Ooh, tulips. Let's go see what Tyson's doing. My goal this week was to basically get the tulip, or the lilies planted, and I did. My next goal this week is to get some more sprouted ranunculus into the ground. I have 1,000 of them right now pre-sprouting, so I'm really excited because I think I can actually manage to do it under row cover. I'm gonna kind of fake out a little bit of a fall planting, so wish me luck. Handsome and handy, but mostly talks back.
Open this, and then it'll bypass from there. I put a clamp on there so that cap can fly out.
Okay.
And then you have to switch ends, obviously, but put this end on here.
To there.
So you can take that female end and put it here, and you'd have 2 hoses then, right?
Yep. So can you turn it on, please?
You might not have to have this open all the way, but you might have to play with it a bit.
You don't have your ground hooked up.
I know.
Nothing. I don't think there's anything better than water pressure. So let's go check and see how our lilies that we planted the other day are doing. I shared that with you. I shot that video a couple days ago now. So we'll just check and see how they are doing. And then we will go see if it's, I have enough pre-sprouts to do the next part of the project. Nothing broke into the netting. Still holding. I still have to plant those 2 beds over there, and I think I'm gonna do one of them with ranunculus and one of them with, I think I'm gonna do this bed with lisianthus because that fan blows and vents out quite early in the morning. So I think it would help it stay more warmer, even though it's kind of early right now. And then this bed I'm going to do ranunculus. So I'm going to see if I have enough sprouted so I can get them out here before it starts raining. The bright side is the garden has finally thawed out. This happened like yesterday and like today, overnight kind of thing. So That's exciting. It's a soup hole because it wasn't actually frozen. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the perennials that we planted will do, because we put in like hydrangeas, and we also put in some dogwood for cut flower filler. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they bud out and if they survive the winter, because it's kind of exposed out there, and we had 50 below wind chills and colder. They're not rated for that. They're rated for much warmer climate. So let's hope they survive. So I just came into my grow room and I'm checking the ranunculus corms to see if I can transplant them. Technically I could put them out there because they're in that stage of getting ready to root. They're nice and plumped up and they'd be fine to go into the ground, but I'm going to just leave them. I don't see much for rooting on these yet, so I'm not going to plant them today. I'm going to wait till after we have the next set of rain. Even though our temperatures are going to be like -1 degree Celsius at nighttime, I will have these covered when they go out. So I'm not too concerned about the temperature or planting them too early, because they are quite hardy and I don't have any leafy greens on here. So as soon as these root, I'm going to put them in the ground. They're not going to be in this vlog, unfortunately, but I'll catch you up to date on the next one. I have not given you a seedling room tour for a while, simply because I've had a lot of stuff going on, and I had fungus gnats in here and I was just so busy fighting with them. I probably should have shown you the good, the bad, the ugly. I just didn't get it done, so I do apologize, but I can show you what I do have going on here. And I did yesterday start like 2,400 seeds for outside planting. It was my first outside succession. I'll be doing another one next week, probably about the same size. And then I'm moving into the warm season stuff, which is gonna be ginormous. That's gonna be a big planting. So the next few weeks are going to be insanely busy. And Chaz is actually going to be doing more ball practices, so I will have less time at home and more to do. I did a grow tower reset. Yesterday I disassembled everything and I put new seedlings in. Except for this cucumber, it's not a happy cucumber. Not at all, but it needed some TLC. It had some bad roots on it, and so I trimmed the roots, which cucumbers despise their roots being trimmed. But it is pushing some buds, so I'm hopeful that we'll be able to get some cucumbers. This is one that doesn't need pollination. It's a greenhouse production variety. It was just an experiment to see how well it would grow in here, so that'll be good. Up here we have some lettuce still that was planted for Valentine's Day. I've harvested several times off of here. It definitely needs some water. It's really droopy. I started some more lettuce for the tower garden. And then there's just a whole bunch of seeds in here, like Rudbeckia and different cool season stuff that I can still get going. I need a cover for this because it's a little I want to dome it, so like the rest of these. I'm not going to open these. There's a ton of them started. My season is going to be very delayed. These should have been started last week, but because I have them in soil blocks, I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty confident that I can catch up with them, but it's just random things. I can go through the list of things that I've planted separately. This is sunflowers for a succession I'm doing an experiment on. This is blue plurum, and it needs some food or something. I sprayed it heavily with neem oil and it didn't like it. It needs to go outside in the worst way, get hardened off, so I might start working on that here soon. I have peppers. They're all looking really, really good. Some of them do have some burn on them because I also sprayed these with like a neem oil and they did not like it. And then back there I have some eucalyptus. These are carnations. These here are lupins, which will be going into pots here soon. So they're getting true leaves on them. So those will be going into pots soon. These are straw flower. Had a really bad germination of straw flower. These I think are foxgloves. Yeah, they're foxgloves. I had a poor germination on them. And then these here are Marie Chabad carnations as well. I have some feverfew and yarrow. These are perennials. The yarrow is perennial. I have, these are some really late Lysianthus I started from seed. This is for a fall planting, or like our fall succession. Some tomatoes that need to be potted up. They're really sad. They're living on neglect. And then a whole bunch of their seedlings down there. So I'll tell you, I also have over here, this is, I'll just take a look here. Honeywort. I'm going to try to use this in place of my eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is so hard for me to grow here. And then over here, I have, there's one, two, oh, yeah, I'm trying to count how many. I have 1,000 corms of ranunculus pre-sprouting down there. So there's approximately 1,000 corms already growing in the greenhouse. So there's a lot of ranunculus. There's over, I think in total I have 2,400 ranunculus that'll be grown on the farm. So something like that. It's a ridiculously high number. But production, baby. Okay, so in the seed starting trays, I'll just go through the list of what I started yesterday so you kind of know what I'm growing. So I think, is it the 16th today? So yesterday was the 15th. I started nigella, butterfly weed, clarkia, forget-me-nots, verbena, strawflower, cosmos, status, cress, ami, some different varieties of grasses, orleia, bachelor buttons, rudbeckia, larkspur, phlox, baby breath, poppy, gomphrena, sunballs, which are crispedia, I think is what they call. My florist calls them billy balls. I think, yeah, billy balls. And then sunflowers. So I think there might be a couple things here and there that I tucked in as experiments of just random seeds. But for the most part, that is about my 6-week to last frost date window. And so that was my final push. Now, I know some of these would have needed to been done on my 8-week window, but because I did them in soil blocks, soil blocking speeds up the process of your seedling growth compared to cells. So I kind of am technically, I'm a week behind, but I'm still a week ahead, if that makes any sense, just because I'm using soil blocking method, and it gives me a little bit more wiggle room and time to play with it if we have some crappy weather. That's why I wanted to delay it to this week, just in case we have like if we have a snowstorm that comes May long weekend and I can't harden off seedlings to plant them out. I'm not going to be, it's not a big deal to me. I can still push them another week. If they were in cell trays and I started them last week, I might find them being a little bit leggy and not up to the optimal time to start getting up and going for cut flowers in production. So that was my theory behind that. So anyway, that's that. Really just lots of seed starting and weeding. The weeding and the watering in the greenhouse is intense. I feel like I'm doing it 24/7, and laundry, the time of the year, and washing the floors, the time of the year seems to be all the animals and critters. They like to dart into the house as fast as they can with muddy paws and bellies, and run all over. So it's been quite an adventure this spring so far, but no flooding yet. It's actually going smooth compared to last year. Last year was brutal, and so I'm very grateful, and I'm looking forward to a full season ahead. So anyway. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. So I wanted to show you this. If you're a new gardener, you want to look for this. If you are planting tubers, or if you're buying tubers in a store like dahlias and you see these little growth nodules, that is abnormal. It's like a cluster of funky looking growth points. That is called leafy gall, and it is caused from a bacterial infection in the plant. And so with that happening, that means that this tuber is infected with a pathogen, and you don't want to put this in your soil. If you wanted to rescue it, you could actually pot it and like grow it and cut a flower off of it and then discard it. And that's what my sales rep advised me to do. However, I'm gonna bag these. I'm gonna dispose of them because I won't take the risk of bringing this pathogen onto my farm or my garden, or even selling these. I don't even want to cut a cut flower and sell it to a florist who will sell it to you, who you will compost. I don't want that to be in your compost. So I am gonna be the responsible one and dispose of these. But that's something to look for. And if you are running into this problem, you are more than welcome to send me a picture and I can tell you if I think it's gall. Anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble.